Hey, good morning, everyone. We have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Arthur B. Wesley II, former band director of Alabama A&M University, director of bands. Let me correct that statement. Percussionist, deacon, man of God, just a good overall person. But we're kicking off with the first question. So just to give the young guys and some of the older guys who've never had a one-on-one with you, can you tell us a little bit about what sparked your interest in music, specifically percussion?
Okay, that's a good question. I began playing drums at age three years old in Brookhaven, Mississippi. Then I began taking piano lessons at age 5. I did a piano recital at age 7. I did drum lessons at age 9, 8 or 9. I can't remember. That was years ago. Okay. Thus, the interest in percussion began, especially when I began playing drum set. That's what I really like. I really enjoy playing the drum set at age 10. So I've had a good musical upbringing as a child. Also, I played with a group called the 11 Teeners when I was a teenager in Brookhaven, Mississippi. While I was in the 6th grade, I played in the marching band at Alexander High School in Brookhaven, Mississippi. And I played the snare drum with the high schoolers.
6th grade. Boy.
In 6th grade, that's correct. I would go over to the high school, leave the elementary school and go to the high school and play with them. I was just that good at that time. Okay.
Hey, now you're a GOAT. That's why we have you here today. So tell us a little bit about where you studied, undergrad and graduate, and kind of what influenced those decisions in terms of what schools you went to.
Right. I studied at Florida A&M University, where I began my collegiate career. And I studied with Dr. William Floyd. He was the percussion teacher there at FAMU. And I went on to Mississippi Valley State University. That's where I got my Bachelor of Science degree in music education. And I went on to the Vandercook College of Music in Chicago. That's where I got my Master's of Music Education. And I have the pleasure of studying at Alabama A&M University in the graduate program. And I received the EDS degree in administration in higher education. So I am an official administrator.
Awesome. You will be a high school principal, huh?
Well, a dean or whatever.
Awesome. So if I understand correctly, Mr. Haskahar was your percussion instructor at Vandercook, right?
That's right. Haskahar was one of my teachers, yes, as well. Mr. Richard Mays of St. Louis, one of my teachers. Albert Sonny Diggs Jr. was my drum set teacher when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So that was back in Brookhaven, Mississippi. And Richard Mays of St. Louis was one of my collegiate teachers as well.
So I assume those were the persons who influenced you to be great at your instrument.
Yes, and especially the drum set. And my 2 favorite instruments are the drum set and timpani. Yeah, I like timpani as well.
Yeah, a lot of the young guys haven't seen you on timpanis, but we used to always get amazed when you would grab the timpanis and percussion ensemble and play for us. Me and Laura would always sit back and say, "Man, you were an excellent timpani player." Everyone knows you're a drum set player for the most part because you see you at church on Sundays and playing for the school programs. So Mr. Haskahar, was he more of a snare drummer or percussionist, or what did you really admire about him? Because I'm 30 years later, I see the books in the store at Haskahar 1 and 2. So
that's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Right. He was a very unusual person. Yeah. In Chicago, he drove a big long Cadillac and all that. So he used to play with all the theater programs, shows in the Chicago area, and he was a circus drummer as well. And sometimes he would leave he would leave me in charge of his class at Vandercook, and because most of the class would be filled with band directors, and I would teach them percussion. And Haskell Hart was a xylophonist, marimbist. He played marimba. He played the timpani, was one of his main instruments. Snare drum and all the rest of the percussion instruments. He played all of those, but he has passed away as well. But he was one of my favorite teachers.
Awesome. Were there any other students that we may know that were there with you at the time? Was Mr. Van Free at Alabama State, was he at Vandercook with you, or you just, because I think
No, he was at Roosevelt University in Chicago. That's another area in Chicago that he studied.
Okay.
And I was at Vandercook. He was at Roosevelt.
Okay. Interesting. Good stuff. So how did you end up at Alabama A&M? You know, you went up to Chicago, studied with the great Haskell Hart, and how did you make your way back to Alabama A&M?
Well, see, I started teaching at Mississippi Valley State University. I was interviewed and received the job. I got the job at Mississippi Valley State University. It was my first job. I was 21 years old at that time, and I was the percussionist, director of percussion, and I was assistant director of bands at Mississippi Valley State University. So, and then after that, I wanted to move up and all that. So I interviewed at Alabama State University. And I got that job as well. And Albany State, I got that as well. But Mr. Barney Smart, Sr., I interviewed with him, and he said he needed a percussionist. So I went on to A&M, Alabama A&M, through Mr. Barney Smart. I was his assistant and as well as the percussion director at that time, and jazz band director as well. So he gave me several titles, Mr. Barney Smart Sr. And he was a very unusual person. He was a great person, Mr. Barney Smart now was. And we were great friends, and I do miss him very much.
Awesome. So so you always just tell me you had some really good students back in the 80s. I think you mentioned to me Mr. Elliott Forrester was probably your best student.
Yes.
And I looked him up, and I think he was teaching at Elizabeth City College, or band director, right?
Right, band director and director of bands, that's what he was, and as well as the percussion teacher. You're right, at Elizabeth City. I think he's still there. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I think he is. But Dennis Dunn is another one of my students. There were several of them.
Dwight Pearson.
Dwight Pearson. He was the one. Now, did Dwight pass away or something?
I believe he did. I believe he did.
Yeah. Now he was excellent too. He's from Birmingham. He's an excellent percussionist, and he could read. He's a good reader as well. Yeah, I think he came from Phillips High School in Birmingham. So, but he was great. He was real good. But my favorite student was, still is, Ella Forster. Ella Forster also was related to Barney Smart as well. They were relatives. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. For you young guys that don't know, Elliott Forster is listed as chief in the poem. So go back and read that poem. So, Mr. Wesley, when you came there to be the percussion instructor, did you ever think you'd be the band director?
No, that was farthest from my mind. Mr. Barney Smart, I blame him. So he wanted to study and get his PhD, and he went on to Michigan to study. That's what he did. And so he left me in charge of the band program. And it was in the spring of 1979, I believe. And he said, "Now I'm gone, and you're gonna take care of the band. You're gonna do the band." I said, "What? I'm gonna do the band?" I said, so that's when everything started with him. I started to say he's the culprit. He's the one put me in charge of the band program. Now the problem is he left and did not return. See, that's where the thing switched over, because he didn't return. And so, you know, when you are in on the collegiate level, they give you so many years to complete your degree and all that. And so he didn't complete it, but he was still working on it. So he had to let it go. And then they appointed me in 1980 to be the director of bands. I started off as interim, and this is 1979. 1979, I was interim director, because I was saying Barney is coming back. And then one of the vice presidents said, "Now, you doing especially in 1979, he said, your shows still look like Barney Smart." I say, "Well, that ain't right, because he's coming back." That's what I was saying at that time. I was doing my show like he did, you know. So, but anyway, so that's history now. So awesome. I appreciated it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm glad you came. You know, it was God destiny for you, and I picked a lot of us, and thank you for coming. So this is where it's going to get good for most of the drummers in here. All right. So you became the percussionist instructor,
right.
Alabama A&M director. When you came there, I'm pretty sure the percussion section kind of had a sound, and kind of, you know, they had a certain way of playing. But did you have a vision for the section when you took over? Did you kind of have something in mind how you wanted them to sound? Because one of the unique things about Alabama A&M was we had high and low tenor drums. I had not seen that in any other collegiate marching bands. So kind of how did all that come to be based on your memory?
Well, I based it on the time I was at FAMU in 1963. Most of y'all were not born then. But anyway, they had high and low tenors. So that's why I got that idea from them. And when I worked at Mississippi Valley, the band director Russell Boone was a part of drum corps in St. Louis. So he wanted me to do the drum corps style at Mississippi Valley. So that's what I did. I did a lot of drum corps material with them, and I tried to implement that at A&M. Some of it now, especially rudimental drumming. You have to know your rudiments and all that. So that's what I require of them. You have to do a solo to my here at A&M, and you have to sight read. And reading is very important. You know, you can play all you want to, but still you should be able to read too.
Amen.
As well. You got to do both. So sometimes the drummers or percussionists, they can't read, some of them. Okay. But at A&M, that's what we do. We still teach you how to read. I still do that.
Okay.
And I want you to read. I want, it's bad when you don't read now. It's good. It's good that first of all, you need a teacher. I say it that way. You need somebody to help you. And I've always had somebody to help me in my formative years. I had, I was taught by professionals, so that helps me. And my gift is playing. I love to play, and especially drums. I like to. Now with my jazz band at A&M now, that's what I'm doing. I do a keyboard. I'm playing keyboard. I don't have a pianist. So I'm playing myself. I'm playing and conducting the big band. I hope that your people understand what a big band is now. It's a band sort of similar to the Duke Ellington group or Count Basie, that kind of, it's a big band. And they have a jazz combo, a smaller group as well. So we implement all these things into these groups, okay, especially jazz drumming. I love to have a person to play when he comes in playing jazz, but I'm talking about drummer now. But that's not the case. I know the band directors don't teach. Well, they're not teaching that much jazz, especially jazz band. They don't do that. They really spend their time doing marching band. You know, we love to march and dance.
Yeah, so I was talking to some high school band directors, and they said, marching band is becoming 12 months a year.
Yeah.
Symphonic band, marching band, jazz band. It kind of takes away from the development of the musician, right?
Exactly. So when I took over the band, that's what we did. We did marching band, we did symphonic band, and we did all the other ensembles as well. All those, that's very important. You want the percussionist, the drummer to have a well-rounded experience rather than playing in one style. Out there drumming with the marching band, you got to do more than that.
Yeah, we have a few of your excellent jazz drummers online. Steve Blackman, Shannon Giles, all those guys served as your drum set player for your jazz band at some point.
That's correct. Yeah, especially Steve. Is Steve still in his right mind?
I don't know, Wesley. We'll verify later. Yeah, I think he works one of them big companies in Huntsville, AT&T or something. So maybe they give you a free phone if you go over there and see him.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. That's good.
So moving along to the next question. So you've been around a long time. You've seen a lot of changes in percussion.
Right.
So what are some of the major things you have observed, right, since you finished your tenure at A&M, and just from your time from when you got there until when you departed? What are some of the big changes you've seen in percussion over the years, and what distinguishes a good drum line from a bad drum line, just from what you hear and what you observe, because you've seen it all?
Right. Sometimes especially on the collegiate level, the drummer, the percussion section, they're doing, it's not clean. First of all, that's what I look for. If it's a clean sound and the drums are tuned, and especially the bass drums. And when I started with the bass drums at A&M, when I took over the band, I started using tunable bass drums. You got the 4 different pitches on the bass drum, 4 different sizes of bass drum, rather than a single slim size of the bass drum. So I used the bigger drums and went on down to the smaller drum. Now today, especially at A&M, they're using chest tenors, and I didn't use those. But, Southern, they use them, and Alabama State and all that. And that's fine. That's good, So at A&M, that's what kids, when they come in now, they want to play the chest tenor. So they made that popular, especially Alabama State and Southern. And I don't think Jackson State, I haven't seen them, so I don't know. But anyway, I taught the percussion section, especially in Mississippi Valley. That's what I used to work with directly, percussion. But we were doing drum corps things, okay? But we even had at Mississippi Valley a tambourine player in the percussion section and tambourine.
Maybe we need to bring that back at A&M, tambourine player.
Yeah, and conga drum. We had a conga drummer and timbales, all those instruments. We were using those back then. I'm talking about Mississippi Valley, around 1967, 68, and all that. That's what they were using then. There was still a corps band, a drum corps style, But today they're doing the show style, the high step and all that, the dancing and shaking and whatever else. Mississippi Valley didn't do that when I was there at Mississippi Valley. They didn't do that. They did strictly core. Yeah, so
you have quite a legacy there. I saw a post on social media a few years ago where someone was talking about your influence on the development of their style and the music program there. So major kudos to you. Yeah, you have a strong legacy out there at Mississippi Valley. So I'm going to go to my final question, and then I'm going to open up the Q&A. So tell us about some of your most memorable moments at A&M, and do you ever miss that Saturday morning or that classic weekend or that that Southern rivalry? Do you ever miss it? I mean, what was your best moments?
Well, concerning the classic, basically, that was good. I enjoyed going to the classic, and that was a time when the band was at its peak. Okay, and the band, say it like this: they were more into doing what I was asking them to do during this period. Going to the classic. Okay, so but the classic was a very popular thing with the band students and the percussion section, especially them. They want to challenge Alabama State. They always want to do that, and as you remember that, everybody wanted to challenge each other, and that's fine, but sometimes it goes overboard, and they want to do other things with each other. So, besides playing the drums, but I enjoyed. Also, my greatest thing was that I enjoyed about A&M was going to the Tournament of Roses parade. That was good. We led that parade. We were the first African American band to do that. Okay, we did that back in January 2006. We led the Tournament of Roses parade. Also, we went to Disneyland and Anaheim, and we performed there as well. So those were my greatest things. And going to the 100 battle bands, we did all those things. I enjoyed that as well over in Atlanta. And I think they're trying to start that back again. Something. I heard that, so I don't know. Those are the things that I enjoyed most of all.
So as a band director, did you feel any excitement leading up to like the classic? Because for the percussion section, as you said, we look forward to seeing Alabama State that last weekend of October. So as a band director, did you kind of feel excited about the game?
Yes. No, not well. The band performance, yes. Yeah. And the game was secondary according to the band. The band. I was excited, especially seeing what Alabama State had to do on the field. And I enjoyed that. And that battle. Okay. And one of the guys used to be the band director at Alabama State. We were in graduate school together at Vandercook, and that's Mr. Davis, and he played trumpet, but he was in charge of the band program after Mr. Dr. Lyles had retired. By the way, I interviewed again. I told you that I had the job at Alabama State. Dr. Lyles interviewed me and all that, and he wanted me to come, but Alabama State could not measure up to what Mississippi Valley had at that time. Okay, so I'm talking economically, they didn't have that part. But Marty Smart at Alabama A&M went on beyond everything. And he was a fine person, so I chose to go to A&M because of him and his family as well. Yeah, they were nice people.
Awesome. Hey, thank you. So we're gonna open it up for a few questions. I think Marcus Eatman has a question. You remember Mark? Guy from Tuscaloosa?
I think so. I had to see his face. Yeah. He's not a criminal.
Hey, Mark.
I'm not a criminal.
How you doing,
Mr. Wesley?
How are you? Well, I'm trying to see your face. Who are you?
The only difference is I got some facial hair now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
my
black,
right.
Black
My
Santa Claus. Okay.
My question for you, as far from a percussion perspective, which drums, from chest tenors or leg tenors, which ones do you prefer?
Me, we use, during my time, your time, we use leg tenors. So and FAMU as well. They used back during that time leg tenors as well, and I still like that as well. I think Mr. Wright, I think he's using leg tenors and the chest tenor. He's using both of them. I think he is now. I have to check with him and see what he's doing. But I know everybody wants to play the chest tenor. You know, some of the guys taking lessons from me. That's what they want to do. They want to do cymbals and the chest tenor. I said, and the guys can play and read. They should be on snare drum, but they want to play the cymbals and chest tenors. So chest tenor is very popular. That's what they like, especially the students now. That's what they like. In the A&M band, that's what they enjoy playing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have a question from Mr. Steve Blackman now. Hi, good morning, Steve. How are you?
Okay, good morning. Can you hear me?
Morning.
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, man, I'm still alive and well, Mr. Wesley.
I said, are you on work release?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Well, man, we definitely appreciate you. I guess my question would be, so what would you classify our drum section style as? You know, I know you kind of said, of course, reading, showmanship.
Yeah.
But when people think about different drum sections, they think about, a certain character. So what would you say A&M drum section is? And, when you kind of thought about it, when you originally came to A&M, what was that perspective of what you wanted it to be?
Mm-hmm. Again, I tried to implement rudimental things, basically, because that's what I like. I enjoy rudimental drumming, and I like the pit. I try to use the pit too on the side, percussion pit, drum set or something. But we were kind of limited because if you set up a pit on the side, that's a lot of instruments and a lot of people, and most of all, I needed some xylophone marimba players, which we didn't want to do too much, especially today. The guys still don't want to do marimba and xylophone. They don't want to do that piano. They don't want to do none of that. They want to do these drums. But I enjoyed the pit deal. So, and I kept the drum set. Sometimes we take the drum set onto the field. Sometimes, and that works out pretty good. But the problem is with that, when you take a drum set on the field, it's not mic anything. So you just out there going through the motion.
Right. So, That's right.
It needs to be mic'd so that the audience can hear what you're doing. And most of the time they hear the rest of the percussion section rather than the drum set player. And I also use the bass, electric bass, guitar sometimes, different things I use to enhance the sound of the band, especially in the concert position. That's what I try to do by bringing in instruments. Sometimes I bring in singers, but the problem is with all that, you got to have a good mic system. And I know one time at the Classic, we were taking speakers out to the field, and the cars broke. Yeah. So the singer couldn't sing. You just going through the motion. So we had him in the
Absolutely.
show, a person in the show. So, but that was a good question you asked. Now
Yes,
you're in
sir.
charge
Yeah.
and what are you
Yeah.
doing now?
Well, regional for AT&T.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
supervisor for them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate everything you did for me. Cause man, I was a kid from Birmingham trying to come in, and you
Right.
gave me an opportunity. So I definitely appreciate it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you can even tell in the cadences that we do, you know, even though we don't have a drum set on the field as much in those days when we were there,
Right.
we were
Exactly.
able to implement that in the cadences. So, you know, that's one
Right.
thing that I want everybody
That's
to kind of
right.
understand. Yeah, like if the parts that we do, I mean, I could get on the drum set and play them, and it's literally,
Yeah.
you know, the same thing. So, you know, that's awesome.
And you were one of my excellent drummers with the jazz, man. I enjoyed your playing.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, we had good times there. Thank you. I really appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah. James Blair was one of my students as well when he was in high school. Yeah. You heard of him, right? James?
Yes, sir.
KD Blair.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's one of mine as well. He's I think he's in Nashville now, but he's still playing with a lot of professional singers. So he's doing good.
That's awesome.
And you're doing good too.
Yeah.
Now,
We
you're still
trying
at
to
St.
make it.
John, right? You still at
Yes,
St.
sir.
John?
Yes, sir.
Playing drum
Yes,
set?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep. Over there with Robin and all them.
Yeah, Roby, yeah. Roby was one of my students. He was one of my students as well.
Well, you
from
know, you
Oakwood.
taught everybody. You done taught everybody.
No,
in,
aren't you?
Alabama.
A lot of people, but not
everybody.
everybody. Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome. Thank you.
Well, Mr.
Sure,
Wesley, we don't want to hold too much of your time. I don't think we have any more questions.
Okay.
I just want to say personally, thank you for everything you've done for me, and I think everyone has those same feelings. We really appreciate you as a person, a God-fearing man, and just thank you for leading our university and teaching us how to be men. You know,
Thank
you never. I mean, you never said you were our father, but we kind of always looked at you as a father figure, and that's always good when a young black man can look at their band director or their teacher and see a reflection of God, because that's what we're called to do, right? We're called to be a model God-fearing Christian for the younger generation coming up. And with that said, sir, thank you again for having us this morning. We appreciate this. We're going to archive this. We'll send your copy. You're our GOAT. Southern may have their Dr. Greg's, Fam may have their Foster. Mr. Arthur B. Wesley Sacken is our GOAT, and you're our guy. Thank you, and God bless you, sir.
And bless you too. Everybody be blessed. Thank you.
Have a good one, sir.
And you too.